Today we journey deep into the Khalkist Mountains, where mist-choked vales and impossible geography hide one of the most sacred and most dangerous locations on all of Krynn. Welcome to another DragonLance Saga episode. My name is Adam, and today I'm going to talk about Godshome. I'd like to take a moment and thank the Deal Saga members and Patreon patrons, and invite you to consider becoming a member or patron. You can even pick up Dragonlance media using my affiliate links in the description below. I'm referencing the Odyssey of Gilthanas, the Art of the Dragonlance World, and the War of the Lance source books for this information. If I leave anything out or misspeak, please leave a comment below. In ancient ages, Godshome referred to two different sacred sites. The first was the City of Godshome, a vast pilgrimage center, a city within a city, shaped like a great wheel of 15 districts. Each district served the worshippers of a different deity, all radiating outward from an enormous great temple of the stars, which contained cathedrals for all 21 major gods. Before Istar's rise, every devout worshipper in Ansalon dreamed of making the pilgrimage here at least once. Each district was self-contained, with its own inns, temples, shops, and residences. But access was tightly controlled. One gate on the outer wall, and passage between districts only through the great temple, and only with approval from its high priest, the Worshipful Master of the stars. Yet not every deity maintained a district. The gods of nature, Habakkuk, Chislev, and Zeboim, kept their holy sites elsewhere, far from the city's walls. The gods of magic likewise had no temples here, for every journey to a tower of high sorcery was a pilgrimage of its own. The second reference was Godshome Vale. Hidden deep in the Khalkists, this secret valley was the true holy site. Only those chosen by the gods and approved by priests in the city could find the trail leading to it. Even then, the path would twist back into the foothills unless the gods allowed the pilgrim to pass. For the worthy, the gods themselves administered tests of devotion, character, and divine purpose. Many died attempting them, but those who survived emerged in a bowl-shaped valley surrounded entirely by sheer cliff walls. At its center stood 21 colossal stones representing the gods, encircling a perfect disk of polished black stone that reflected the sky, constellations, and moons of Krynn, regardless of the time of day. This was the place where the gods revealed themselves. As Istar's king-priests grew in ambition, they sought to centralize all worship in their gleaming capital. They taxed the pilgrim roads to Godshome, let banditry flourish, and built temples meant to overshadow the great temple of the stars. In the final century before the Cataclysm, the propaganda campaign succeeded. Many now viewed Godshome as corrupt, fraudulent, or blasphemous, though it was Istar's own meddling that created this perception. Finally, the king-priest ordered the legions of Istar to march on the city. For nearly 20 years, the priests and holy warriors of Godshome held out, united across pantheons in a desperate defense of their sacred home. And then, one night, they vanished. Every one of them, without a trace. Istar's enemies entered the silent city at dawn. Hours later, the cataclysm struck. A fiery mountain struck Ansalon, causing tidal waves and massive earthquakes. The city collapsed, thousands of soldiers died, and only a handful survived to speak of what became of Godshome. Since that day, the city has remained a haunted ruin. Ghostly soldiers wandered the shattered districts, eternally searching for their vanished priests. Adventurers report treasures scattered throughout the rubble, but none of the great sacred artifacts have ever been recovered. While the city lay in ruin, the true Godshome, the Vale hidden in the mountains, remained a place of divine power. When the heroes of the Lance journeyed towards Naraka, the befuddled wizard Fizban led them through the Khalkists, where supernatural wonders lurked. Ancient bridges of Valenwood, miraculous golden spans of magic, and yes, entrances to the legendary Glitter Palace, the fabled home of Paladine. Within its crystal-walled halls were the three great divine tests. First, the test of wisdom in the heart of a volcano. Second was the test of valor in the ghostly remains of Vingard Keep. And third was the test of the heart on a moorland plateau overlooking Calaman. Each test revealed merely a possible path to defeat Takhisis, not the path they would ultimately walk. Whether or not the companions took the road, they eventually reached Godshome Vale, and here they witnessed revelation. The polished black stone reflected the sky, moons, and constellations, including those normally invisible like Nuatari. All except the constellations of Paladine and Takhisis, which were absent. As the party reached the center, the truth was revealed. Fizban vanished, and the constellation of Paladine appeared. The god stood among them, and here Flint Fireforge's journey ended. Flint died in Godshome Vale, and Paladine escorted him personally into the afterlife. Godshome is woven into some of Krynn's greatest myths. Huma Dragonbane once brought the first Dragonlance here to be blessed with the divine power needed to oppose Takhisis. Many Solamnic traditions record Godshome as a place of hope, prophecy, and revelation in dark times. In the Age of Despair, it stood as a solitary note of divine presence when the gods were thought gone forever. And in every age, explorers whispered of a hidden entrance to Glitter Palace somewhere within Godshome itself, a shifting doorway that appears only to those favored of Paladine. After the Chaos War, everything changed. The gods departed, and Godshome Vale broke. The evergreen forests blackened, the moss turned ash, the sacred stones vanished, the polished black disk cracked like broken glass. And yet, the surface still reflects a distorted image of the new moon that rose after the gods' departure. It is a place of memory, of echoes, a severed connection between Krynn and the divine. It is also a place of sorrow. When Jasper Fireforge and Errol Songbrook sought evidence of the gods' return, Godshome nearly broke Jasper's spirit. In the shattered valley, they confronted grief and a doomed knight of the skull who sought to restore Takhisis through honorable combat. No blessing came. No voice whispered from the heavens. The gods remained silent. Godshome had become a grave. Today, whether in the Age of Mortals or after the gods' eventual return, Godshome remains one of the most sacred and enigmatic places on Krynn, a valley of divine reflection, a site of revelation and death, a place where mortals saw the gods face to face, the threshold of Paladine's Glitter Palace, and a ruin haunted by both spirits and memory. Few find it, fewer survive it, but all who stand in Godshome stand in the shadow of the gods themselves. And that is all I have to say about Godshome. What do you think of this home of the gods? Have you ever included it in your home campaigns? And finally, do you think it still holds power after the War of Souls? Leave a comment below. I would like to invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, ring the bell to get notified about upcoming videos, and click the like button. It all goes to help other Dragonlance fans learn about this channel and its content. Thank you for watching. This has been Adam with DragonLance Saga, and until next time, remember, I know now, after I've had time to think, that what Lorana did was right. She had to go, or her love would have been meaningless.